Buenas tardes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call to order our meeting today. Welcome, everyone. Ada is putting up the agenda so we can take a quick look before we get started. If you want to scroll down, that'd be great. A little bit to see what. Just a quick review. Everyone did get access to this agenda, correct? Thumbs up. Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and first of all, call roll. Andrea, can you call roll for us, please?
Yes. Hold on one moment. My computer is moving so slowly this morning. Okay, here we go. Now it's up. Okay, so if you wouldn't mind stating here when I call your name. Eliezer Posada, I see you are present this morning.
Hi, I'm here.
And Mukoa Kyoko, Sophie. Andrea Lengua, that's me, I am present. Thevin Smith.
She alerted Elkie that she was had a passing of the family. She wasn't going to be able to be here today.
And Robertson.
Here.
All right. Rasha Mohammed. Virginia Rojas. She is no longer on our board, I believe. Elkie Well Milan.
Presente.
Michelle Bermio Betancourt.
Present.
Jordan Crumroy.
Here.
Cynthia Martinez Gonzalez. Adiel Martinez Ventura. Otter Zaror.
Present.
Julia Finucci. And I believe we have one more board member who hasn't been added to my attendance list yet. Might be a good opportunity to go ahead and present her to the board. And I will leave that up to leadership.
Yes, that is Catherine Rivera. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
You are, yes.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the board. Before we get into the approval of the agenda, if you just want to give us like a quick little introduction of who you are and yeah, just let us know a little bit about you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Rivera. You can call me Kathy, Catherine. I go by either. So I am currently, I work for the Department of Commerce as their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Program Analyst. It is a relatively new role for me. Before that, I worked at the Department of Administration on their boards and commissions as their boards and commissions coordinator. So I basically did Aracelisa's role, but for DOA. And for I think about 10 different boards and commissions as well, including the Andrea Harris task force, which for those of you who don't know was created by Governor Cooper to address the inequities in the state, racial inequities in the state that were made more prominent due to COVID-19. I graduated from NC State in 2019, December 2019, with a double major in international studies and political science. I'm very proudly Colombian and Puerto Rican. My mom came here from Bogota, Colombia in the early 1990s, and then my father is from Cali, Puerto Rico, for those of you who know where that is. And I just, grew up very proud of my culture in a very small town in South Carolina called Anderson. Not that small anymore, used to be. And, had to learn how to be pretty loud and proud about my culture from where I grew up. But really, really excited to be here, working with the Hispanic community and with the immigrant community in general. Knowing my mother's story of, coming to the States and her struggles is a really big passion of mine. And I look forward to doing some really good work with y'all.
Well, on behalf of the board, we're happy to have you. Thank you for stepping up and being part of this this amazing group of folks. I can't wait to see how the board continues to thrive with you on it. All right, so and thank you. Hi Raja, I see you joined us. Hi. All right, so I believe we have quorum on that. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect. All right, so let's get started with first item on the agenda. So everyone saw the agenda, was able to get it. So at this point, I'll entertain any motions to approve or amend the agenda.
I'll make
Are there-
agenda as presented.
Anne has moved. All right, Anne has moved to approve the agenda, seconded by Elke. All in favor, please say aye and or raise your hand to the camera.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Seeing none, the agenda is passed unanimously. And all right, so let's move to our second point on the agenda, and that's, oh, go ahead, Ada.
Yeah, so we do have someone attending, Germán Muñoz Dash Lopez, just in case. I'm not sure if it's a guest, if somebody's expecting, or if they are part of the board, because sometimes, you don't get to log in as your name. Send me a message and I will get you into the system. If you are just participating and as a guest here, we welcome you in. I think
Yeah, welcome.
all.
All right, thank you, Ada. Sorry, so let's move into the first point on our agenda, and that is to hear from our new chief of police here in Raleigh, Chief Patterson. Thank you for joining us today. I will give you the floor. We did talk a little bit about the board, but basically this is your introduction to us and letting us know a little bit about what you do, what we can look forward to seeing as a board, and I'll hand it off to you.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to spend a little bit of time with you, just as you stated, to talk a little bit about my journey so far and what I'm looking to do here in Raleigh. My name is Estella Patterson. I have been the chief now for Raleigh Police Department for 5.5 months. It's been a busy 5.5 months, but a good one. I'm so excited to be here. Prior to coming here, I was in Charlotte as a deputy chief, and I was in Charlotte for 25 years. That's where I came up in policing. And so made a lot of connections there in Charlotte with the community. I'm working with the Hispanic community and also all segments of the community. That's one of the things since coming to Raleigh that I have been very intentional about, is learning this area and meeting with the various communities here. So in my time here, I will tell you that it has been wonderful in terms of getting out and just kind of learning Raleigh, particularly with our Hispanic population. I have met, and some of you may have even been there on this, when the Guatemalan Council had their bicentennial anniversary celebration at Diggs Park. I did attend that with Consul General Jorge Achila. That was wonderful, a wonderful event. Also, too, since being here, I have visited the Mexican consulate with Consul General Claudia Osorio. Did a tour of that facility and then had a one-on-one time to talk with, not really one-on-one, but just a public discussion with members who were there at the consulate, answering some of the questions of that community that they had of me. Also, too, I've done a number of interviews already with some of the Latino and Hispanic radio stations and newspapers, just talking a little bit about my agenda and what I hope to accomplish here as the chief in Raleigh. And I will tell you, there are basically 3 things that biggest thing being is just to really rebuild the relationship between the police department and our Hispanic community. I know that RPD has a rich history of working with different segments of the population, but it's important to me that we are intentional about working with the Hispanic community, partly because, if you don't know, I was born in Panama. Although I don't speak Spanish, it's been a long time since going home to Panama, but so I feel a connection to the Hispanic community. But my initiatives are, firstly, like I've indicated, to help rebuild the relationship, but also to make sure that my officers are engaged, are out and about, doing as much as they can to be a part of the Hispanic community. I encourage you, anytime you're having any kind of meetings or you know of meetings, that you will invite us so that we can be a part of that. We're already doing it, but we want to do it on a larger scale. Another initiative that I'm a part of is the Faith Action ID. I have met with Ileana Santillan. I know that she is really an advocate, really pushing that forward. I want RPD to partner. I believe Wake County Sheriff's Office is a partner for that project, and we want to align with them and with the Faith Action ID. So we're working towards that. And then thirdly, we are doing a big recruitment push right now at RPD. We're short officers, and I want to make sure that as we are hiring, that we're hiring more bilingual officers. In fact, we are working with the city to roll out a special pay incentive for those officers who are bilingual. And hopefully that will attract good people to the police department, but also to enable us that when we do connect with the Hispanic community, that we're able to communicate effectively with them. That is so important because we know that many times this community does not want to engage the police because of fears of language barriers, but also to just the thought that, we're connected to ICE somehow. And every time I talk to the Hispanic community, I say the police department is not aligned at all with ICE. We don't enforce any kind of immigration laws at all. That is not our objective. We want our community is safe, and that if there's victimization occurring, that we can stop that and that we can serve the entire community. So with that, I said a lot, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have of me, of my time being here in Raleigh, or the things that we're looking to do as a PD.
Yeah, no, and first of all, thank you for spending some time with us today. I'm sure that many of our board members will have a question, so let's do this orderly, right? So if folks want to raise their hands, we'll call on you so that we're not all jumping on each other. But with that, is there any questions for the chief? And I see your hands up.
Well, welcome. We're just so glad to have you here and a wonderful background. We're very, very excited about you as our new police chief. I'm an immigration attorney, and I'm sure you're familiar with something called the U visa. For those of us on our board who are not familiar with it, it was created by police for the purpose of getting immigrants to be unafraid so that they would cooperate with the police and so that criminals could be convicted. Particularly undocumented immigrants, they're scared to death of the police. They feel quite sure that the minute they speak up to police that somebody will report them to ICE, they'll get deported. So the U visas are extremely important means for police, for sheriffs, for district attorneys to be able to get criminals convicted. In order for us to get the U visa, we have to get something called a certification that is signed by the police department, where they certify that this individual was the victim of a crime and was helpful in getting the criminals convicted. Word is out that things are getting kind of restrictive there in the police department in Raleigh, and I hope that's not true. I would love to hear your comment on that.
Yes, thank you, Ann, for that. Yes, so the U visa program is still up and alive and going at the Raleigh Police Department. We are the custodians of that. If a person is victimized, and there are certain offenses that fall underneath the U visa qualification. No, I'm not sure where the information came about us being more restrictive. We actually have been operating the way we've been doing it since the inception of the U visa program at Raleigh. Now, interestingly enough, though, I just had a conversation the other day with the major that is over that, and we feel that it is time for us to look at the policy and to have some guidelines around it, particularly around how long the statute of limitation in terms of when the victimization occurred, like how many years. Currently, it's around 5 years. You have up to 5 years to be able to report that. But we want to look a little bit more critically at what other cities are doing and just seeing how we can better align. When I was in Charlotte, there was a U visa program, very healthy U visa program. Many people utilized it, and we were happy for that because, to your point, we do want to encourage someone, if they are a victim of a crime, to report that crime so that we can get that offender. So here at RPD, we're going to take another look at the U visa program and look at the guidelines, but there is no intention of making it stricter. We want to make sure, and we want to encourage individuals to come forward if they have been victimized.
I'm very glad to hear you say that. And I will point out one other thing. Our board is the Hispanic and Immigrant Affairs Board. So I have, in my practice as an immigration attorney, I've been here 30 years practicing immigration law, and I've seen a lot of problems with Muslims, people who particularly visibly are Muslims because of the way they dress. So I'm hoping that your outreach, as you mentioned earlier, is to Hispanics, but I'm sure you intend that it will be for all immigrants.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Across the board. And I'm making sure that, I'm reaching these communities, but if I miss one, I certainly want them to reach out to me. I would love to meet with them and just to hear the needs and to make sure that we are protecting and serving everyone in our community.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Anyone else? Oh, okay.
I have a question. Who should they contact in the office in the event that they want to set up a meeting with you directly?
Yeah, so just contact the chief's office. I have a special assistant. His name is Detective Hampton. I'll actually put his address, his email address in the chat. And then that way you can email him directly. He keeps my calendar. It's a busy calendar, but he keeps it. He does an excellent job. So if you have planned a meeting or you'd like to meet with me, if you just go through him, he'll get it set up for you.
Thank you. And we'll be sure to pass that on to all the board members. Jordan, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, kudos on trying to get pay increase for multilingual staff. I think that's like step one in diversifying police forces. So I'm really, really glad to hear that. And I hope you'll keep us posted on how that goes too, so that we can help with recruitment. So if that ends up making its way through and you want to share some multilingual flyers or postings with us, I'm sure we'd be happy to share it with communities. My question is, I'm wondering, and this might already exist, are the police do they receive any specific training on working with immigrant populations? Is it a specific training that they go through? Or is that something that doesn't yet exist? I'd just like to hear more about kind of, I know police officers generally go through some sort of basic diversity and equity training. I'm just wondering kind of your thoughts on what's currently happening in Raleigh.
Sure. So yes, as part of their basic law enforcement training, when you first become a police officer, there are topics related to special populations, immigrant populations and such that we get. But beyond that, each department can then, devise any additional training they want to have. I don't know what Raleigh has done recently. That's something that I would have to check on and get back with you. But when we do like our crisis intervention training, there are some components that talk about different cultures, different languages, that kind of thing, different populations and how to deal with them. I know that we've done that with some of our de-escalation training, our CIT training and such, but just specific to your question, I don't know the answer to that. I will have to just check and see what Raleigh has done in the past.
Great, thank you.
Yes, and if you would like to, if there's some research you do and something comes up, you want to send that over to the board. I know that many of us would be interested in learning about that as well. Kodar, I thought you had raised your hand. Did you have something?
Yes, I have actually a question. How, I don't know how much or how far are you pushing community policing in Raleigh PD? That's really important, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Thank you for that. You got to know, I love it when people ask me that question because I'm all things community. I'm very community centric. I came up in a community policing background in Charlotte. That's really all I know. And since coming here to Raleigh, that's something that I've been pushing. Currently, the structure of the Raleigh Police Department is, and within each district, and there are 6 districts throughout the city where our officers are aligned with our patrol districts. And within those districts, we have allocations for what they call community officers. And those are the officers that are every day engaging the community. They're out and about. I love that concept. However, I think we need to broaden that. Every single police officer should be a community officer and should be engaging in community policing. Out in their patrol beats, when they're not on calls, getting out, talking to stakeholders, going by communities, in their neighborhoods, talking with residents, really starting to just build the relationship. I think that is so important. And so that is something that we're working. That's a transition that's going to have to be made here in Raleigh because that's not how they've done business in the past. But my vision is that every single police officer will be a community officer and will engage the community in some fashion in a positive way. We have already started to form some partnerships with business stakeholders. I don't know if you follow us on any of our social media platforms, you will see that we partnered with Advanced Auto Parts, which they reached out to us for a community policing initiative where if we make stops of cars or we happen to be on a traffic stop or at a community meeting and we learn that somebody has a minor vehicle violation, we can give out those cards and then the individual can go to any Advanced Auto anywhere and they can get the repair, they can get the item fixed up to $25 basically, which I think is an exceptional community policing initiative. I want to do more things like that so that our officers are connecting with members in the community that might have a need and then finding ways to help them meet that need. So anything along that line, I'm 100% for. So thank you for that question. I'm glad that gives me an opportunity to make my plug to say I'm all about community policing.
Thank you, Chief. We are a little bit over schedule, but this is important. So if there anyone else who has any questions, we also don't want to keep the Chief here all day. I mean, but if you want to, you can stay. I mean, that's completely fine. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none. All right, Chief, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Any final comments, notes for us?
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. And I put my assistant's email address in the chat if you want to contact me.
Awesome.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
All right, everyone, that was great. So let's move on to our back to our agenda. Next up is the approval of the minutes. Thank you. I believe it was Cynthia who took the minutes last meeting. Thank you for that. Everyone is able to review those or should have been able to look at them. Is there any edits or are there any points or motions at this time?
I move we approve the minutes from 11/20/2021.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, so motion has made to approve the minutes and it's been properly seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand to the screen.
Aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Seeing none, matter passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. All right, so let's move on to staff liaison reports. Ada, I'll pass this on to you now.
Okay, so wait a second, just quickly, a couple of things. Our department, the Department of Equity and Inclusion, has a new director. Dr. Hamilton will be starting at the end of this month. She starts on January 31st. Most likely we'll have her in our next meeting, so she'll be joining us for the February meeting. So that's an expectation. Let's see, anything that we have. So in the last council meeting, no nominations we have one position open for community and there was no nominations. One of the things City Clerk Office did reach out to me. If you do have any suggestions, I would say you can send those over maybe to Elke or at least one point of reference for the leadership, either Elke or Andrea, and you can compilate any suggestions, and those can go as recommendations to council. You know, sometimes they don't have anybody. You might have a long list, but no one that they really know or feel like it's part of the list. But if you do have someone, my suggestions would be that if they haven't filled out the form yet, which is on your webpage, that they do go in there, fill out the form, and you share the name and last name for that individual. So right now we have an opening for community. That's the one Virginia left. That's what we have available. So we are 14 versus 15 members at this moment. Let's see, anything else? Let me check the agenda. I think budget. So the budget, let me see if I can open it. I forgot to open the budget. So you approved to use for the December event with the Kenyan event. And so the expense so far has been that of $2,693.18, but not just for that event, because you did approve $2,000 and they stayed within their limits. There's also expense through promotional material, which is ongoing for the fiscal year. That was utilized within that amount, within that total amount. And I share that information with leadership. We can definitely forward it to everyone. If it hasn't been forwarded yet, we can forward to everyone so that you can have. So everything is within budget. The only thing pending is Parks and Recreation as far as cleaning of facility. The budget is approved. So once that comes in, we'll go ahead and include it and give you an update for that. So she just said it has not been paid. And the other thing that was approved was to pay for staff as far as for them keeping the facility open. But because of COVID, the director was the one that had to open. So she gets, she's a full-time employee, so we didn't have to pay that extra amount. So that's one thing that we don't have to pay as far as that goes. An update on communications. So just to let you know, communications has presented on the 18th, presented to council. They're planned to work with boards and commissions. From my conversation with our liaison from communication, they are preparing a one-pager for us to share with leadership and with the communications committee, so that we know how is it that we're going to be working. So far, council defer a conversation regarding social media. And I will say, I know your leadership has really been working and pushing with Council Ford regarding that, because she did mention this board several times, and other council members as well mentioned the need for social media, specifically for a board like this one that needs to reach out community in a different form, in different languages and whatnot. And so they are going to actually talk and discuss that topic during their retreat. I believe the retreat is in February or March. So I don't have the exact date, but they are putting that as part of their discussion. I don't know if they're going to extend the entire spectrum of communications, but I would say communications will have at least some guidance for us as far as how we will be working. My understanding is they will potentially have some sort of templates that will not have city logos, and those templates would be what we will be using for that. The templates would be on cities' equipment or cities' hosting. I'll be able to input the information you provide for me, but we would still need to get training, so that would take a while. That's where we're at right now. Again, nothing has been fully approved until we get that one pager. So I will share that with communications and bring it back next month. Was there anything else? Let's see. Bylaws, yes. I think bylaws is the other thing. So city clerk's office and city attorney's office have made some changes and updates upon request from city council. So there were 3 amendments that were sent over to council, and council had questions. Some council members had some questions, and they defer the bylaws to for staff to review. So they have reviewed, they have sent some things that they have sent edited are recommendations. Other things are actually things that would have to stick because they are part of the city code. So that has been sent to leadership, but I think you guys need to review and it needs to be brought back. There's at least 2 areas that are more policy areas that the board brings over to those bylaws, but both city clerk's office and attorney's office have made some suggestions, but they are suggestions for you all.
Thank you, Ara. Any questions for Ara at this moment? According to the bylaws, you did send those out. I believe that is.
They have not been sent.
Oh, they have not. They haven't been sent out.
Just the leadership. Yeah.
Okay. So I imagine that's going to be visited at the next meeting. So just we can wait for that. But any questions or comments regarding other topics for Ara? Seeing none. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to leadership report. First on that report is an ask to start strategizing, subcommittee start strategizing events and planning timelines for 2022. Okay, I believe this was your point. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
I think it was a collective idea of having subcommittees bring up the recommendations and forecasting for any type of events or just plans that they have for the rest of the year, the fiscal year, which ends in September. So we can have everything, we could allocate our budget correctly and have everything, we have our work plan, but we need to have a general understanding of where we are in the subcommittees. So if all subcommittee leaders can meet with their subcommittee and come up with a list of recommendations or a timeline on what the rest of the year will look like. That's what we would like to see at the next meeting.
Awesome. Ada?
One recommendation is setting June 1st as your date for expenses. So even if you are proposing an event for the month of July and August, make sure that those subcommittee leaders are selecting June 1st as the deadline to submit any payments. Payments ahead of time would be okay. You know, if we need to rent facility, if we, whatever the case may be, we could do those beforehand, or at least we have them allocated with an invoice. We can allocate beforehand and then pay once the event gets executed.
Awesome. Thank you. Next point is a huge thank you to Anne for the holiday dinner. That was very fun, and the carolers was an immense treat. So just a quick shout out for that event. I know that I had a lot of fun. I know several folks on this call were there, and we were able to meet each other a little bit deeper and get to know each other a little bit more, as well as share some pretty delicious food. So I highly recommend that happens again. Let's see where this COVID takes us, but I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for your generosity of sharing your space and everyone who showed up, because that was a beautiful event. So yes, and announcement. Today will be my last meeting with the board, based on my I will be pursuing political office in my town, which means a lot of my work with nonprofits must end. And as I am a member of this board as a professional member, based on the work that I'm doing, based on nonprofits and other folks working in Raleigh and the Wake County area for immigrant and Hispanic and immigrant folks, as of the end of this month, those contracts will end, which means my ability to be on this board will also end. So therefore I must resign. So this will be my last meeting with y'all as a member of this board. But I want to take a moment to say thank you for all of you who have been doing this amazing work with us. And I will definitely miss being part of this board, but I look forward to all the amazing things y'all are going to do. Just keep me in the loop and invite me, because that dinner was fun, so I want to go to those. But just wanted to let y'all know my letter was already sent in, and it was, I believe I sent it over to the clerk's office. It becomes effective tomorrow. So I just wanted to let folks know that. And that means that y'all will have to select a new chair for the professional members. I'll leave it up to Ara, Elke, and Andrea to let y'all know when that will be, when that election will be. But in the meantime, if you are a professional member and you would like to serve in leadership, start thinking about that, and hopefully we can get a new chair soon. But yeah, I'll see if there's any questions or comments on that before we move on to any points. Or Ara, do you want to talk about the procedure to replace the chair?
Yeah, it would just be nominations. Again, it's going to be between Elke and Andrea, just to see if they want to move forward with that on the agenda next month, or they want to push it to the following month. But it's really going to depend on how we can send out an email. And it basically is going to be, if you have any nominations, whether nomination for yourself or someone else, you would send that to me once they choose that that date, and we'll just have voting on the month that they select.
Thanks. I see Anne, you had your hand up.
Liaison, I want to thank you. You have done such a great job. And one of the things that's particularly fun is your enthusiasm, which is just very infectious. So you've done a phenomenal job. You and your other leadership team have had a huge task to start out of nothing and to come to where we are today. So I, as one board member, and I'm sure that I'll be joining other board members too, to thank you for your service. You've done an excellent job and wish you well in your future endeavor. If you don't mind telling us what that is, you know, you'll give it some support. Thank you. I thank you so much for what you've done.
Thank you. And of course, this has been a team effort to get everything off the ground. So yeah, I will just sort of, if folks want to know, I will be seeking an open seat in Corborough Town Council. So I'll be launching my own political campaign in the next couple of weeks. So given that, and given that a lot of my work is with nonprofits, in order to not affect nonprofits, I must end that work, which means I must leave this board. But I know that I'm leaving it in very capable hands, and y'all will continue to do amazing things.
Okay, Sarah, I'll just echo what Ann said. I think your energy on a Saturday is what we all need, and I'm excited to see you carry that into Carborough. And it's a loss for Raleigh, but it's a win for Carborough. So congratulations. I'm selfishly sad, but congratulations on your next adventure.
Thank you all. All right. Moving on to our next agenda before I get emotional. And that is committee reports. So first on our list is a committee report from the Communications Committee. I believe that is Adriel.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. So we, as Ara has already mentioned, we are on waiting for that template. We're most likely going to meet by the end of this week, so we can get that one-page template. And then from there, like she mentioned, we have to learn the process. So that's what we're working on right now, in order for us to be able to, you know, put that information and send it out to the community. So we're working on that. That's the things that we're working at the moment. And I don't know if Elke wants to add anything else.
No, I think that it's pretty much covered. Aside from the budget that was spent on the Kenyan event, it was $976, I believe, that came out of the promotional materials of the communications budget for shirts, keychains, and bags, which Araceli is, she's the keeper of them for future events. So we didn't give out that many, but we have lots of promotional materials left, and you know what's left on our budget. Aside from that, we're just waiting on mostly direction and guidance, along with having a conversation or getting general understanding as to how to bring media outlets into the conversation, into the work that we're doing and what we want to do all across the spectrum. So yeah, no, that's pretty much it. If anyone has questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Hey, so not really, I guess, a question, but more of a, I guess, offer a suggestion. I am really close friends with one of the reporters for News and Observer, actually the only Latino in the News and Observer. So if you guys ever want me to reach out to him about anything you guys have going on, let me know, or I can even connect you guys to him and see if he'll be fine with that as well.
Thank you, Catherine. We're already starting. Woo!
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments for the communications subcommittee? All right, seeing none, we move on to the community engagement and celebration. Looks like the members of that committee are not with us this afternoon.
You're a member of that committee. No, y'all haven't met.
No, not last month.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go and let y'all know that we haven't met this month. So we will have a report for y'all at the next meeting. Economic Development Committee.
Yes, good afternoon. We met in November. We did not meet in December. We tried to make contacts with the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce, but the person I was in contact with left that position. So there is a new person that I'm trying to contact to schedule a meeting to schedule really like a panel discussion with Latino and of course immigrant business leaders to have a couple panel discussions in the community. But I'm just still waiting to hear back from the new person that took over the Chamber of Commerce kind of outreach. So that's where I am. I may reach out to Catherine. She's energetic and exciting, excited to work with us. So I'll reach out to her, see if she has any contacts that could respond to us much quicker to start having at least schedule some events next three months or so. And add anything? Anne is on the board. I don't know if Anne wants to add anything.
The only thing I was going to add is that I'm aware that the Chamber of Commerce in Raleigh is very committed to trying to help new businesses. And so that is kind of our philosophy for this committee is if we can partner with the Chamber of Commerce, they've been doing this kind of thing for years. So to hear Carter say we're waiting for our chamber contact is a really good reason because they have a lot of money and a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of experience, and partnering with them, I think, really is the best way to proceed. So I wanted to explain why we think that's a good idea.
Definitely. Thank you both for that. Michelle, did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, have y'all partnered with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce at all, or like have a contact reach out to them either? Okay, I can put y'all in touch with somebody there as well to help like with that network. So I will make sure to do that.
Please do. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Elgie?
No, I just wanted to add that Catherine, as her choice, had requested to be on this board as well. So I just wanted to be and correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine. So she could be, I'm sure, of resource to everyone as well.
Subcommittee or the board at large?
The subcommittee.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So I am sure Kodar and Catherine will be in touch soon, and definitely thank you for stepping up for that committee. Did you still have? Oh wait, no. Okay, cool. Anyone else has any questions, comments? By the way, Michelle, I love your cat. It's so pretty. Seeing that, moving on to our next subcommittee, which is social justice and safety.
Yes, so we have not been able to meet since our November meeting. The holidays in early January have been very busy time for us. But we will be meeting to talk more about like those vaccination events and partnering with the community engagement committee to make that a reality. We're also going to be more in communication with Taisha Hinton, who presented last time, about creating kind of like that master list of city resources that we could share out with community members and like nonprofits that we know work with immigrant and Hispanic communities in the area. Yeah, and those are like the biggest projects that we're focusing on.
Awesome. Any questions? Oh, okay.
This question is for Aracelis, to the point that you were asking about that list. Is the Unify Raleigh page similar to what she's requesting, Aracelis?
I'm not certain. I know, I'm not sure realistically if there's any connection. It may be, let's see if we can have a side conversation. So Michelle, if you can give me a call, we can set up some time. We can look both of that list. We can look at the one we have right now in the city and see if maybe there's some things that we need to edit. And just to let you know, Substance Use is working on the same thing. The Substance Use Advisory Commission, they're working on the same thing. So if we can actually find one page where we have everything from boards and commissions, I know that they've divided it into different sections. I think Elke did share a couple of resources on the Hispanic one. Originally, when it first opened, I think I saw something in there. There were a couple of organizations. So we can see if we can link them up and maybe create one. If it's not fully created, we can create it and build it. And we can pull from other groups. So we can look, and then we'll look at this page, the Unify one.
Could
that
you share
Elkins
that
mentioned.
one? Could you share the Unify one page on
Yes.
in the chat?
Yeah, I'll find it
I'm
right
not
now and
saying
share
that
it.
that's what it was, but I'm just saying that.
I think that's where you shared. So I'll share it. They just moved it. And I think they kind of divided, and that's where I think you shared some of the organizations in there. They just changed it. It's no longer the unifier. I think now it's more resources, but I'll share that with everyone.
Yeah, and want to reiterate that this master list we're talking about are things like, oh, if you can't pay your water bill, if you're, like things like that, more so. But yeah, I'm happy to set up a call with you, Araceli, so we can kind of figure out all the different folks that are working on this, and that way we don't have multiple people working on the same thing.
Thank y'all. Elke, do you still have? All right, cool. Catherine, did you have your hand up?
Oh yeah, I had it up, but I think it pretty much got answered, so we're good.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Awesome. Thank you, Michelle, for that report. Now, next thing, or moving on to the final parts of our agenda tonight or this afternoon. New business. Before we move into new business, there any other questions, comments, concerns for any of the committees before we move on? Seeing none. New business. So as part of our new business items, there is a proposal to plan an African and Afro-Latino panel in February and for Black History Month. Elke, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I feel that the commentary that we put it down is limited. I think that we want to highlight for Black History Month, all of our community members that span into the diaspora of the African community, both, our members within this board, along with leaders that work in different government entities and just leaders at large. I think that it is eminent to uplift all voices. It's important to uplift all voices, and in a discussion between leadership, we just thought that it would be a good idea to have a Zoom call and discuss certain issues, whether it's systematic racism, job issues, work-related. I mean, there's a vast list of issues that we encounter as immigrants and Hispanics and Muslims and just all of the people that are here. We all have a different story, and I think it's important to highlight in Black History Month those stories. So I would like to make a motion. I kind of get an understanding of where you guys what you guys think about that, and then if you guys agree, we can make a motion to hold a meeting of sorts.
All right, so first I'll leave it open for any discussion on the proposed event or conversation. How do we feel about it as a board? Oh, cool. Thanks, Raja. Raja put a comment. Andrea?
Yeah, I would just like to suggest that maybe we have members of our board volunteer like Rasha has to help organize this event, just so that it's not a diffused responsibility. I often have hard time understanding what my piece is when trying to help and wanting to be helpful. So if there are people who want to help head up planning this specific event and delegate it to the rest of us, that would be awesome.
Raja, are you in?
Raja.
I don't know how helpful I'll be, but I sure do like to try to be helpful.
All right, anyone else want to join the team to help plan this for next month? Raja's being a cheerleader, I love it. Dun, dun, dun. All right, well, at the moment, it looks like Raja and who else wants to help plan this? Anyone?
Okay, can I introduce the motion? I'm sorry, I don't, sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say I can help out as well. Not sure how much help I'll be, but I can help out.
Perfect. So Catherine and Raja have volunteered to help out with this event. I'm sure leadership will be in contact, and y'all can start setting up this awesome event. But before it becomes official, I'll entertain any points or motion at this time to approve this event for February.
I move that we hold this event for February, our
I second
Afro,
it.
Latino, and African Nation panel for February.
All right, there's been a motion to create and have this event approved by the board. It has been seconded by Kodar. All in favor? Well, actually, this has to be a roll call vote. So, Andrea, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, no problem. Okay, no problem. As soon as I have everyone's names up, and I've got it. Eleazar, how do you move?
Aye.
Andrea, I approve. And Robertson?
I approve.
Perfect. Rasha Mohammed?
I approve.
Great. Okay, Will Milan?
Aye.
Michelle Bermeo Betancourt?
Yes.
Jordan Crumroy?
Aye.
Riel Martinez Ventura? You're on mute, Adiel.
We
I
can come
will-
back to what it is.
Yeah,
If
I'm going
he's-
to move on.
If he's not there, it's an I too. So whenever they
Okay.
stepped
I'm
out, it's
sorry,
considered an I.
my internet is wonky this morning. So, but yes.
Adar Zawar,
I approve.
Catherine Rivera, excuse me.
You're good. I
Perfect. So this has moved by unanimous consent. Thank you all.
Amazing. Thank you all. This has, I am looking forward to this event. Ara, did you have something?
Quick question, do we need a budget for this? If you need a budget, I think your next meeting will be until the end of February. So if you do need a budget, just tossing that information out there.
Budget as in translation. I mean, I think the only main issue would be mostly translation. I didn't.
And you guys have budget that out, so you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Last point that we have on our agenda, and we have a couple of minutes left, is old business, the biographies of the board members. Ara, I believe you send that over to leadership. And we just.
Yeah, so I know that Miss Ann had requested just the biography you guys got towards the beginning. I believe that that is something that our office, when the board first got created, they sent a question out and you guys sent some responses back and they put that together. So what I have done is I went ahead and created that into an Excel spreadsheet for you to go in and edit, because some individuals have to edit, like Andrea changed her last name in the last year. You know, Rasha became a doctor in the last year. So, you know, everybody's been getting new things. So let's update those things. And then we'll get new members to upload their information. So they did not, that did not come from their application. So their application is just basically, you know, where they work. So we wouldn't be able to pull that type of information from there. So I would say if leadership can just share it in a format where everybody can see the edits, and we can always forward that out.
Yes, I am sure that will be forwarded to folks. And we can get that for Ann and anyone else who wants to learn a little bit more about the board members. Raja, congrats on the doc. I did not know that. Look at you.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of hard work, but I appreciate it.
This is unreal, guys. Unreal. She's done awesome.
You are amazing. But all right, okay, so congrats that I didn't know about this. There should have been like, you should put doctor in front of your name, but anyway. You earned it, girl. All right, so last thing we have is any announcements from the boards, anything coming up? Anyone have anything real quick? We have a couple of minutes left. No, anyone? All right, cool. Well, if anything does come up, everyone has emails. Please feel free to share any events, anything that's coming up. And And then we have a public comment section. I know we had a guest. Do we have any public comments from folks in attendance?
Don't have anything.
Perfect. Well, in that, then our last thing to do, 2 minutes before our deadline, is I will entertain any motions to adjourn, if there are any.
I
Anyone
move we
wishing to
close
move?
this meeting.
All right, Andrea has moved to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
I.
Hi.
Any opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's been a pleasure working with all of you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Oh,
Thanks.
she did. You put the doctor. Yes.
She did.
For you. I did it just for you. Good to meet you, Catherine. Welcome.
Good to meet y'all too. Thank you.
Have a good snow day.
Yes,
Y'all
y'all
be
stay
safe.
warm. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Well,